What if I told you that the anxiety you've been managing for years, the brain fog that hits you every afternoon, the depression that doctors keep handing you pills for, has nothing to do with your brain? What if the real control center isn't sitting between your ears, but in your stomach? Because here's what neuroscientists have now confirmed. Your gut has its own nervous system. It produces its own neurotransmitters. It sends more signals to your brain than your brain sends back to it. And right now, whether you know it or not, it is shaping every thought you think, every mood you feel, and every decision you make. This is not philosophy. This is not wellness fluff. This is hard neuroscience, and once you understand it, you will never think about your mental health the same way again. For over a century, medicine operated on a simple assumption. The brain is in charge. The brain runs the body. The brain governs your emotions, your cognition, your mental state. And if something goes wrong mentally, you treat the brain. You give it drugs, you give it therapy, you give it time. That model is not wrong. But it is dangerously incomplete. Because in the last 15 years, a revolution has been happening in neuroscience labs around the world. At Harvard, at Stanford, at the Salk Institute. And what these researchers are finding is forcing a complete redesign of how we understand the mind. The gut, your digestive tract from your esophagus to your colon, contains over 500 million neurons. 500 million. Your spinal cord has about 100 million. Your gut nervous system is so complex, so autonomous, that scientists have given it its own name, the enteric nervous system. And they have started calling it the second brain. But here's the twist. In many ways, it behaves more like the first. The communication line between your gut and your brain is called the vagus nerve. Think of it as the busiest highway in your body, a dual-lane superhighway connecting your brainstem directly to your gut, your heart, your lungs. Now here's what changes everything. Scientists used to assume that traffic on this highway mostly flowed downward. Brain to gut, brain gives the orders, gut obeys. But when researchers actually measured the signal traffic on the vagus nerve, they found something stunning. 80 to 90% of the signals are traveling upward. Gut to brain, your gut is not receiving orders. It is giving them. It is sending a constant stream of information about inflammation, about nutrients, about the state of your immune system, about potential threats. And your brain is responding to that data in real time. When your gut is inflamed, your brain enters a state of threat response. Anxiety spikes, focus collapses, mood destabilizes. When your gut is balanced, your brain is calm, clear, resilient. Your mental state is, to a degree that most people have never been told, a reflection of your gut state. Let's talk about serotonin, because this is where it gets genuinely shocking. Serotonin is the neurotransmitter most associated with happiness, emotional stability, and well-being. When people take antidepressants, they're typically taking drugs designed to increase serotonin availability in the brain. Now ask yourself, where is serotonin made? Most people say the brain. Doctors have been saying the brain for decades. Here's the truth. Approximately 90 to 95% of your body's serotonin is produced in your gut. Not your brain, your gut. The gut cells that line your intestinal walls, called enterochromaffin cells, are the primary serotonin factories in your body. And the gut bacteria living in your intestines directly regulate how much serotonin gets made. Certain bacterial strains trigger serotonin production, others suppress it. So when your microbiome is disrupted, when you've been on antibiotics, when you've been eating processed food, when you've been chronically stressed, your serotonin production can drop. And when serotonin drops, depression, anxiety, and emotional dysregulation follow. Not because something went wrong in your brain, because something went wrong in your gut. Think about the last time you were nervous about something important. A job interview, a difficult conversation, a medical result you were waiting on. Where did you feel it? In your stomach every single time. We've always described it that way. Butterflies in the stomach, gut-wrenching anxiety, a pit in your stomach, without realizing we were being literal. The gut has receptors for stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. When your brain detects a threat, real or perceived, it signals the gut instantly. Blood flow shifts, digestion slows, the gut bacteria community is altered by the stress chemistry flooding the system. But the relationship runs both ways. Research published in the journal Nature Microbiology found that specific bacteria in the gut, when depleted, were directly correlated with higher rates of depression and anxiety in humans. The bacteria weren't just observing the anxiety, they were contributing to it. A 2019 study at University College Cork found that introducing certain probiotic strains to people with clinical depression reduced their depression scores significantly, without any change to their medication. The gut wasn't a symptom of their mental illness, it was a driver of it. And then there's brain fog, that thick, cotton-brained feeling that millions of people experience every single day and are told is just stress or aging or not sleeping enough. Here's what's actually happening. When the gut lining is damaged, a condition researchers call intestinal permeability, or more colloquially, leaky gut, fragments of bacterial proteins and toxins enter the bloodstream. The immune system responds with systemic inflammation. That inflammation crosses the blood-brain barrier, and neuroinflammation, inflammation inside the brain, is now considered one of the primary biological mechanisms behind brain fog, impaired executive function, and slowed cognitive processing. You're not tired because you're lazy. You're not foggy because you're not trying hard enough. Your brain is inflamed, and the fire is starting in your gut. So what's causing all of this damage in the first place? The honest answer is modern life. Ultra-processed food is the #1 disruptor. The emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives found in packaged food directly reduce microbial diversity and damage the gut lining. These aren't fringe claims. They're coming out of major research institutions. Chronic stress is #2. Sustained cortisol exposure alters gut motility, changes the bacterial community, and increases intestinal permeability. Antibiotics, life-saving when necessary, can wipe out entire colonies of beneficial bacteria, and without deliberate restoration, those colonies don't fully return. Alcohol disrupts the gut lining and feeds pathogenic bacteria at the expense of beneficial ones. And low-fiber diets starve the bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, the very compounds that protect both the gut lining and the brain. The average person in the modern world is doing most of these things simultaneously without realizing the cumulative neurological cost. Now here's the part that matters. Because none of this is permanent. The microbiome is one of the most responsive systems in the human body. Give it the right inputs, and it can begin shifting within days. First, fermented foods, daily. Kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, natural yogurt, miso. A landmark Stanford study found that daily fermented food consumption increased microbiome diversity and reduced inflammatory markers in just 10 weeks. Second, prebiotic fiber. This is what feeds your beneficial bacteria. Garlic, leeks, onions, asparagus, oats, green bananas. Without prebiotic fiber, even the best probiotics struggle to take hold. Third, remove the primary disruptors. You don't need to be perfect. But reducing ultra-processed food, cutting back on alcohol, and managing chronic stress will produce measurable gut changes faster than any supplement. Fourth, targeted probiotics. Strains like Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Bifidobacterium longum, and Lactobacillus helveticus have the strongest research links to reduced anxiety and improved mood. Speak to your doctor before starting any new supplement protocol. Fifth, omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish, walnuts, or flaxseed. They reduce neuroinflammation and repair gut lining integrity. And sixth, sleep and movement. Both are non-negotiable for microbiome health. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. 30 minutes of movement 5 times a week. These are not lifestyle suggestions. They are biological requirements for a functioning gut-brain axis. Here is what I want to leave you with. If you have been battling anxiety, depression, brain fog, or emotional instability, and you've tried everything your doctor recommended and something still feels off, you may have been treating the wrong organ. The brain gets all the attention, but the gut is running a parallel operation that medicine is only now beginning to fully appreciate. You are not broken. You may simply be inflamed, and that is something you have real power to address. Starting today, starting with your next meal. The gut-brain connection is not the future of mental health treatment. It is the present. The research is here. The evidence is mounting. The only question is whether you act on it. If this opened your eyes, hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach the people who need to hear this. Subscribe for more research-backed content on the gut, the brain, and how to protect both as you age. And comment below, what symptom resonated most with you? Brain fog, anxiety, mood swings? Tell me. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.